33 to 40. Yeah, the title of my sermon is Blessed to be a Blessing. And then nearly a month ago, around I served 70 to 80 people, mostly from our church, gathered at Rosemary Park. Oh, by the way, if you notice that my voice is a little bit weird today, that's because I almost recovered from an upper respiratory infection. So that's why my son people call it a sore throat. So I'm coughing a little bit. So that's why my voice sounds a little bit weird. Actually, I totally lost my voice last Sunday after our panel discussion. I totally lost my voice. Thank God that I got my voice back. And then nearly a month ago, I say a group of 70 to 80 people, mostly from our church, gathered at the Rosemary Park. Where's Rosemary Park? Do you know? It's right next to a Rosemary High School. Okay, it's in Rosemary. That's why it's called Rosemary Park. And then we are gathered over there for a campaign called Global 6K Running for Clean Water. And then I know some of you, yes. And then this is a fundraising campaign. The campaign is owned by a Christian organization called World Vision. They, through this campaign, they raise funds to provide clean water for people living in the underprivileged area in Africa. And through this campaign, we raised a bit over $7,000, which will provide clean water for 140 children, especially in Africa. Now I would like to invite you to watch a video clip of latest event. Oh, Joseph, you are quick. Oh, what's going on? We have some technical difficulty. Okay, let's start from the very beginning, okay? Anthony, thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for joining us Global 6K Running for Clean Water activity. Now, this activity is owned by World Vision. They help out many people living in different places in the world. And then I'm glad that this year, my church, EFC Los Angeles Church, sponsor this event. And then thank you for signing up. And then my baby, it says Joyce, and she is from Ghana in Africa, and she is 10 years old. So this is a real person. This is a real person. So I run for her. I run for her today. So you can turn to your friends, turn to your neighbors, and see who are they running for. Okay. Global 6K running for clean water. Run!
Great. Thank you for your participation. And then I'm so glad that I ran for Joyce. She's a girl living in Ghana, Africa, and I'm sure pretty soon she will have clean water to use. And then most important is she doesn't have to like travel 6 kilometers every day just for getting water. So yes, if you ask me why do we run for or walk or jogging for 6 kilometers that day, the answer is because like 6 kilometers is the average distance that people living in those underdeveloped areas in Africa has to travel, has to cover for getting water. So this is, I would say, this is really a shocking fact to, I think most of us, yeah, because like for people living in the United States, like water, getting water is even easier than counting from 1 to 3. Don't you think so? Yeah, and mostly water for us, we think it's free. Believe it or not, if you go to Starbucks and ask for a cup of water, do you think they will give it to you or not? Yes. Will they charge you for a cup of water? No. So it's unimaginable that people living in Africa they have to travel so far just in order to get water. And also there's no guarantee the water that they get is clean water. It's clean water. Most of us, we can freely just drink from the tap water, but not so for people living in Africa. So indeed, it's very hard for us to link water and blessing. Unless you know the old hymn, Shower of Blessing. Who knows the old hymn, Shower of Blessing? Oh, yes, I think we are about of the same age. Yeah, and it goes like this, like a shower of blessing, shower of blessing we need. Mercy drops around us are fallen, but for the shower we plead. Have you heard about it before? I heard it today, okay. So it's very hard for us to link water with blessing. But indeed, okay, there's a song, a whole very old hymn, over 100 years old, called The Shower of Blessing. So just like water, food, yeah, food for us comes very easy. And so it's for most of us, we experience a little bit of starvation. We don't call it starvation. Yeah, there's no hungry people, almost no hungry people in the United States. If we experience a little bit of starvation, we call it fast. We fast for prayer. Or we fast for fundraising, just like a 30-hour famine for hunger campaign. So a lot of time, it is also very hard for us to link food with blessing. In the book of Mark, there's a story, very famous story called Feeding the 5,000. The story in the book of Mark goes like this. Jesus took his disciples for a retreat. So when they left the multitude, so verse 33 it says, but many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time, it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. This is a remote place, they said, and it's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves some to eat. But he answered, you get them something to eat. They said to him, that would take more than half a year's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? How many loaves do you have? He asked. Go and see. When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples and distributed to the people. He also divided 2 fish among them all. And they all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. Men only, 5,000, not counting the women and children there that day. Some people said there must be close to 10,000 people over there. So obviously, this is a miracle. Jesus fed 5,000 men with just 5 loaves. You would think that 5 loaves is not the loaf of bread that you buy from a supermarket. What I use here, like 5 loaves, actually. Have you had something called like Lunchable? I think it's a brand, like Lunchable from the supermarket. Have you had Lunchable before? Please raise your hand. Oh yeah, most of us. Great. So you know what I mean, okay. I know Lunchable is about a box, a plastic box. It's all this big. It's very convenient for if parents, like you don't have time to prepare lunch for your elementary children. And then the children's at elementary school. So you will go to the supermarket and they sell like a Lunchable over there. And Lunchable, what you find in a Lunchable is just about about 4 or 5 pieces of Ritz, crackers, right? And a few pieces of cheese. Okay. So what he referred to 5 loaves of bread. Don't misunderstand with the loaf of bread that you find in the supermarket. No, it's what you find in a little box of Lunchables. It's just like bite size. So literally 5 loaves and 2 fishes. It's not 2 fishes. Not like a trout or a salmon, big fish. No, the 2 fishes is just 2 sardines. All right, 2 sardines. So literally 5 loaves and 2 fishes is just like a child's lunch. Okay, so obviously, Jesus fed 5,000 men with 5 loaves, 5 cookies, or not even 5 crackers, 5 pieces of crackers, and 2 fishes. But I would say the meaning of this story go even deeper. It has something to do with blessing. Now, why? First thing, God bless people. Now, this story told us clearly that Jesus took the loaves and gave thanks and broke the loaves. Now first, it signified that the food was a blessing of God. Because we say grace every day, so we lose the sensitivity. Food is actually a blessing of God. If food is not a blessing of God, why do we need to say grace? There's no need, right? Second, now it also implied that Jesus would later break his body for the salvation of us. Today we are going to partake the Holy Communion. So we will say, yes, this is his body. This is his body. So together, it means that God gives people material blessing and a spiritual blessing too. So his blessing is for us. It's for us. His blessing is for us, and his blessing is holistic. The blessing in Hebrew goes like this. I guess the Hebrew word sounds like this, like a Baraka. Am I right? Baraka? Yes, Jackie nods his head. Yes, so not too far, huh? Not too far off. Yeah, because I took my Hebrew almost 20 years ago. So I have forgot most of my Hebrews already. So it's like blessing in Hebrew sounds like Baraka. So to be blessed by God means to have the favor of God. Meaning that God is the source of all blessing. In the Old Testament, say to be blessed by God means that to have more in substance and more in goodness. So it's very practical. So it's not just like a spiritual blessing. Okay. So in the Old Testament, when I say, oh, he has the favor of God, God bless that person, that means it's like that person, you can see the blessing. You can see the blessing. And bear with me a little bit, and then I will tell you why. Okay. And so prosperity in every form, that becomes the sign of God's blessing in the Old Testament. So in the book of Genesis, when God blessed Abraham, this is what he said. He said, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means like God is going to bless Abraham, and then Abraham will have many. See, remember, Abraham is pretty much a shepherd. So his property, his wealth is in the livestock, the sheep and the cows that he has. So when God says, I will make you into a great nation, well, it's not just something like, it's not just a lip service. So that means that God will give him lots of livestock and many servants. And then which means that God will make him rich and powerful. So God blessed Abraham. To a degree, later on, when his nephew, Lot, was captured by some princes. So Abraham even mastered his servant and then to chase and fight against those princes and rescue Lot. And also he also got lots of plunders from the fighting, and so which even make him even richer. So not only that God has God has also made him a father of nations. This is what the Bible says in Genesis 15. So in the vision, God took him outside and said, look up at the sky and count the stars. If needed, you can count them. The answer is, of course, no. Who can know how many stars are there in the sky? No. No. So then God said to him, so shall your offspring be. Abraham believed God, so he credited it to him as righteousness. So what God was telling Abraham here was that not only that he would have countless offspring by blood lineage, but also offspring by faith. We are all Abraham's offspring by faith, aren't we? Why? I believe you all know a song that you sang in CM. It's called Father Abraham. If you can, if you can, sing with me. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's all praise the Lord, right? So we are all right on that arms. So we are all Abraham's offspring by faith. So you may wonder, if you are blessed, let me tell you, the answer is affirmative. Sure, of course. And counting that how easily you can get clean water and how much food you can put on your plate. So we have to say we have no excuse but to admit that we are blessed. As someone said that if you never experienced the danger of battle, the loneliness of imprisonment, the agony of torture, and the pains of starvation, remember that there are 500 million people around the world who live without a blessing. So surely every one of us sitting here today, we have a blessing. And now, it goes on to say, if you have food in your refrigerator, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, a place to sleep, who of us doesn't have it? No. Then you are richer than 75% of the world. 75%, not 7%. 75%. And if you have money in your bank, or if you have money in your wallet, and some spare change in the ditch somewhere in your house, then let me tell you, you are among the top 8% of the world's wealthy. So I believe that you will have to agree with me that every one of us here are favored by God. We are truly blessed. But let me tell you, that's not the end of the story. I'm not here to convince you that you and I are all blessed by God. I want you to know there is a purpose. There is a purpose for you to be blessed. From Genesis, the Bible tells us so clearly. The Bible tells us that for those who were blessed by God, God has a purpose for them, which is to bless other people. When God blessed Abraham, actually, God told Abraham like this. In the Genesis 12, the verse that we just read actually is incomplete. I purposefully quoted incomplete. But actually, this is a more complete version of what God said to Abraham that day. Genesis 12:2, it says like this: I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. A blessing of what? God goes on to say, you will be a blessing to all peoples on earth. The all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So it's so clear. When God had favor of Abraham, Abraham was blessed. And God has a purpose for him, which is make him a channel of blessing for other people. Who are other people? Who are other people? They are all the peoples on earth. So the purpose of Abraham to be blessed was so clear. But so clear here. So likewise, Israel. Who are Israelites? Israelites, the Israel people, the Jews, they are the chosen people of God. They are obvious, they are favored, just like Abraham. Yes, because they are. So that's why I believe that we are favored. We are favored by God because we are also God's, like Abraham's, like spiritual offsprings. So who are Israelites? They are offsprings of Abraham by blood lineage. They are called the chosen people of God. So God also have the same expectation for the Israelites. This verse is from Psalms 67. It reads like this: May God be gracious to us and bless us. They are already favored, right? May God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face shine on us. Period, right? May God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face shine on us. Period. I need to be blessed by God. Of course, the more the better. That's not the end. Read. So that, that's the purpose of being blessed. So let us be blessed by you so that your way may be known on earth and your salvation among all nations. The same as